Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome back to another video. And in this particular video today, we are going to talk to you about a house called scent-rix. Now, I had actually featured some of their samples and given you my impressions back then. And it's a pretty good house. They've been launching a lot of fragrances and some very good ones as well. So over the period of time, I have gathered a few fragrances from their house, and I thought let's do a video for them and let you know how are their fragrances and how do they perform, and should you consider getting all of their fragrances, or which one should you get, and all about it, right? So stay tuned till the very end of the video, because I'm going to share a coupon code with you that will give you a whopping 30% off on their website as well, because there is going to be a sale on their website from the 27th of October, right? Now, keeping that aside, we will divide this particular video into three parts, because I will talk to you about fresh fragrances, I will talk to you about evening wears, and then a barbershop fragrance as well, right? So let's get into the video without further ado. You're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get going right after this intro. So with every order that we have placed, that is me and Shikhar who have placed with scent-rix, we kind of get a lot of samples as well. So we've kind of gathered quite a few samples from their house, and there are some very good ones that I will be getting full bottles as well. Like for example, they have launched the Axe, a Dark Temptation deodorant into a fragrance, and that's something that's going to be pretty interesting for me. So I have that coming in as well, and I have another fragrance coming from them, Citrus Riviera as well. So keeping all of those aside, right now I'm going to talk to you about 9 fragrances that I have from them. So the 9 fragrances that I have are 4 of them are into the fresh category of fragrances, and let's talk to you about these, right? So the first 2 that I want to talk to you about are basically Aqua Essence, and this is Aqua Essence Nova or Aqua Nova Essence, right? Now both of these fragrances are actually alternates of the popular fragrances from the house of Acqua di Gio. Now this is the Essenza, which is the most citrusy fragrance that you would kind of want to wear during a daytime, and the Nova Essence is basically the Profumo Alt, right? So both of them are really good, very fresh, very incensey, citrusy, musky kind of fragrance that you can easily wear for office, daytime, summer fragrances that you like. Especially if you are somebody who likes a good amount of fresh fragrances, then these are definitely worth getting. Now these were launched at a very good price of, I think, sub 1,000 rupees or sub 1,200 rupees for about 50 mls. So that's how you can get a very good flanker. They do have pretty other fragrances as well that go a little more higher. We'll talk about them as well. But yes, if you're looking for a Acqua di Gio Essenza alternate, then you can definitely consider getting this. And if you're looking for a Profumo Alt, you can definitely consider getting the Nova Essence, okay, or rather Aqua Nova Essence. Now both of them in terms of performance, if you're indoors, they will easily last you about 6 to 7 hours time. But if you're outdoors, they might do about 3 to 4 hours time, 4 to 5 hours time roughly, depending on the humidity level and the temperature, and how your skin actually reacts to that scent profile, right? But on the whole, I have had pretty decent performance from these fragrances. They are not the loudest fresh fragrances. They are I would say pretty up from the soft spot of a too loud kind of a that kind of a sweet spot, not the most loudest, but as a fresh fragrance they do pretty well, right? So these are 2 from the Acqua di Gio line that you can definitely consider if you have been looking to get any of those fragrances that have been stopped or rather discontinued. The next 2 fragrances are fantastic fragrances, because I have kind of liked these fresh fragrances from them. Now the first one that I will talk to you about is called Lunar Zest. Okay, now the Lunar Zest is an alternate from the house of Kilian, Blue Ginger Dash, okay, Blue Moon Ginger Dash, which is absolutely fantastic because this is a citrusy, spicy, boozy type of a fragrance. Now you should know, or if you don't know, all of Kilian fragrances, they actually have a boozy note in them. So that's what makes them actually pretty unique. Now, so this one has actually got a vodka note in it, along with a little bit of a lemon citrusy elements, and then of course a lot of spicy elements. So this is very refreshingly boozy. At the same time, it's citrusy. It kind of feels like you're sipping onto some kind of a lemony vodka based kind of a cocktail as well, and with a little bit of a ginger. Now the ginger on this particular fragrance is not like the Bailari Tiger type of a very strong type of ginger. It is a little softer, but compared to these 2 fragrances, the Aqua fragrances, this performs a little bit more loudly for me, and definitely has got that more spicier version. And again, performance I get about 4 to 5 hours time easily on this. and it smells kind of very nice, very masculine, very different to the other fresh fragrances, because you don't generally associate a boozy note with a fresh fragrance. So that is something very different about it. So you can definitely check out Lunar Zest. This is, like I said, the alternate of by Kilian's Blue Moon Ginger Dash. Okay. Right, moving ahead with a lovely fragrance from the house of Clive Christian, and this is basically called as Crab Apple Delight. Now this is an alternate of Crab Apple Blossom that they have. It's a very beautiful type of a fragrance because this has got very interesting notes. This also has got a little bit of a citrus elements, but it's also got apple blossom and it's got rhubarb. Now both of these, along with a little bit of a virgin mojito, or rather mojito, which is another boozy element, a cocktail that you drink. Okay, so with that kind of a vibe where there is a light, mild sweetness of that apple blossom that comes into this particular fragrance, but at the same time there's a beautiful amount of citrusy, airiness, sea marineness, sea salty accords that you kind of get, and light hint of that lovely mojito that is there, which gives you that refreshing peppermint type of a vibe as well. Lovely fragrance, very unique in its fresh offering. So this is something that you can definitely check out, especially for office wear. Now for me, this is a slightly softer version of a scent, not a very loud kind of a scent, but performance is pretty decent as well. 4 to 5 hours is something that I get on this as well. Overall, very classy approach for a fresh kind of a fragrance. Just like when you think about Blue Moon Ginger, which has got a very spicy accord here, there's a little bit of a light sweetness because of the rhubarb that's there on this particular fragrance and the other citrusy elements, but mostly the apple blossom brings a light floral, fruity, citrusy hint that is very, very pleasing, very, very nice. This is something that you should definitely consider if you want to try a very unique type of a fresh fragrance. Now we'll move on to the next category of fragrances that I was talking. So we've spoken about 4 fresh fragrances, and then there is this beautiful barbershop fragrance called as Burning Barbershop from the house of DS Durga. Okay, now this is actually called Burn That Saloon. Now this is a surprisingly very different type of a fragrance because this is a 4-note fragrance, if I'm not wrong. It's a peppermint, lavender, woody aromatic type of a fragrance. So what you kind of get is a citrusy citrus element as well, but in spite of all of those, this is a barbershop vibe. Now the barbershop vibe is very different here. You get a very good amount of minty element along with a nice, sharp, spicy tobacco type of a vibe. Now, there is a type of a green herbaceous vibe as well that comes into this particular fragrance. Overall, smells absolutely wonderful. So if you kind of like fragrances like Boris Jour, or if you like fragrances like Sex Appeal, Jovan Sex Appeal, then you are more likely to like this because this is a lot more masculine and it's a lot more elegant that way. It's a lot more spicy as well. And along with that spice elements that you kind of get from a barbershop vibe, you also get a very nice mint element, which is making this particular fragrance very, very nice. So mint, lavender, and of course a little bit of a citrus element, making it a very lovely type of a fragrance. Now surprisingly, this you need a few sprays because this is very, very loud. Okay, this is super, super loud and it projects really, really good. It lasts easily 6-7 hours on your skin and apparel as well, and performs really, really good. So if you've been looking for a very nice alternate of a burning barbershop fragrance from a niche house called DS and Durga, then you should definitely consider getting Burn the Saloon. Just look at the juice color. It will give you a good understanding of what kind of a sharp, lovely, sweet kind of a, not exactly sweet spiciness because of the peppermint, lovely fragrance. You should definitely explore this one. Alright, moving to the next set of the fragrances or the type of fragrances, and this is actually where I think scent-rix as a house really, really shines, because the evening fragrances or the dark woody fragrances are, I think, where they really, really go absolutely bonanza crazy. Okay, now why I say this is when I initially got the samples, they had a Baby Cat, one of them, and Amwaj Rose Incense. Both fantastic, loud, beast mode type of fragrance. Of course, they had it for limited time, and I think Baby Cat might be something they might release later. But during those time, I did have a couple of fragrances, and one of them is my absolute favorite, which is this called Midnight Soy. Now this is Midnight Soy is basically MFK's Absolute Porla Soy. This is one of those fragrances that I've spoken about even in that review, as well as a fantastic beast mode powdery kind of a scent. Now this smells like as if you put on rose, woody elements, some sweet elements, some caramelly type of a vibe, and then that just goes crazy because it smells absolutely wonderful. It's a very mature type of a scent that you can put on. very, very powdery, lightly sweet. It's got a light floral in, and the moment you wear it, you kind of realize that it smells absolutely wonderful. Now this, you need to go very light on sprays, because you do a few sprays and this projects like crazy. Last easily 7-8 hours, easy 7-8 hours, projects really, really good. And one of the elements why I kind of like this house and their fragrances is because the transition in notes that happens, right? So where you see the top notes going off and then the mid notes and the base notes, that is something that you experience in fragrances like these, which are fantastic, and they're absolutely worth the money, because like I said, they smell rich, they smell classy, and very rare that you find alternates of fragrances like Absolute Porla Home. So you can definitely get this from their website, or I'll share the link with you. You can definitely try this. So if you've been looking for a very woody, slightly rose in floral vibe, slightly sweet, very mature, very a compliment getting type of a fragrance, then you should definitely try MFK's Absolute Porla Soya. Fantastic fragrance, a little bit of a deviation from the Grand Soya that there is there from MFK as well. Next, a fragrance from the house of Stephen Humbert, Lucas 777. This is their alternate of God of Fire. This is called God's Flame. Now this is a total experience that you should have, because this is very, very different to a lot of the fragrances that you've tried. This is a fragrance that actually opens with fruity notes like mango, then it got a little bit like jasmine, it's got a little bit of floral vibe, and then it also has got a little bit of oud, musk, and that kind of thing going. So you kind of get a very different type of a scent profile, which is fruity, which is a little bit of aquatic type, ozonic type of a vibe, and then a little bit of woody element, a little bit of a sweet element, a little bit of floral element. Overall, fantastic fragrance, very, very unique in my opinion. And if you have been looking to try niche houses like Stefan Humbert, Lucas 777, then yes, this is one of their fragrances that you should absolutely enjoy. Very good performance again, just like my Midnight Soya that I have here. Very good performance again on this one as well. You get like easy 6-7 hours of performance, but it's again this is very powdery all throughout. This is the Midnight Soya, which is very powdery. Here you get more of a fruity type of an opening, more fruity, more floral type of a vibe, and then it transitions into a more woody type of a vibe. The oud on this particular fragrance is not the most dominant or known type of a note, but you do get a very good powdery dry down, woody dry down in the dry down. Very good fragrance again for parties, celebrations. So this is something that you can definitely wear, called God's Flame. Moving to the last two fragrances, and these are my recent acquisition. In fact, this whole video has been delayed because of these two fragrances that I was waiting to get. So one is Exotic Fruity Oud. Okay, now this is a fragrance from the house of Maison Crevelli. They kind of launched 3 fragrances. This is an alternate of Oud Maracuja, which I also featured in the 12 easily wearable fragrances, Oud fragrances video as well. Now, typically, this is a fragrance that opens with a lot of passion fruit, a lot of fruity elements, but then there's a oud also on this particular fragrance. Now, the oud is also a dominant one here, because this kind of has a dominance of that woody element, but it's surprisingly a very powdery kind of a fragrance that you will easily be able to wear. Okay, now because of the fruity elements that is there, especially passion fruit on this one, it's got a very fruity, sweet type of an opening, not like the sweet type of an opening that you get in Afnan 9 p.m., not that kind of thing, but slightly sweet, slightly powdery, vanilla type of a vibe, woody type of a vibe, because of this fruity openings of passion fruit that is there. Okay, now that makes this particular fragrance very woody, very unique, very beautiful. Now surprisingly, this thing performs like crazy for me. This really, really works well. 7-8 hours is easy that I get. Very loud beast mode kind of a performance that I get on this one, and absolutely easy to wear. Lovely fragrance that you can definitely try, because this has got that little bit of that incensey vibe that is there in Middle Eastern fragrances, but because of the passion fruit note, it feels absolutely wonderful. Something very unique to try. This is Exotic Fruity Oud from the house of scent-rix. Now the last fragrance on this particular list is again from the house of Maison Crevelli. This is the Hibiscus Mahajad alternate, which is exactly called as Exotic Hibiscus, whereas this one was called as Exotic Fruity Oud, right? So this is again a wonderful fragrance where the dominant note is hibiscus. Now Maison Crevelli actually has got some fragrances like this, like the Fruity Oud here talks about passion fruit, this talks about hibiscus, and there is another Iris Malakan which talks about iris as a note, right? So here what you kind of get is a dominant opening of the hibiscus along with a good amount of rose, a little bit of a minty element, and then of course a good amount of vanilla and powdery elements. So smells very unique. It opens kind of like a rose floral type of a vibe, but more than the rose, you kind of get the hibiscus note, which is very dense, powdery as such. Very not very sweet, definitely sweet kind of a fragrance because you have floral elements to it along with that vanilla. But then because of the minty note, you also kind of get a bit of freshness on this as well. So easy summer wear, easy evening wear type of a fragrance, something that you can wear completely different from your typical woody type of fragrances that you want to wear, something standout kind of a fragrance. This is easily one of them to try. Now all of these were launched surprisingly, I think about 1500 rupees to 1600, that kind of a price band. There were some premium ones also that were launched by them. Like for example, they did have Frederick Malle Moon and I think Promise, that was also launched around a little bit higher. But I would also easily recommend you to try a Blockade, Mind Games Blockade, easily another very good fragrance. And this was the Amouage one that I was talking to you about. Citrus Riviera is also very good. Then there is the Vibrato Sospiro, that is also another fragrance to try. So a lot of good fragrances that you can easily try from them. I do have, like I said, a few samples. Even the Ganymede is really good as well. So I have of course got about 11 to 12 fragrances from them. Currently I hold about 9, and then I think there are about 2 or 3 in transition that will happen when we will receive it once the shipping actually starts for this particular fragrance, right? Now having said that, they have a site-wide sale that's going to start on October 27th, which is basically the Diwali sale, and you can get a 30% off on their website by using the code Diwali30. Okay, so use the code Diwali30 on their website scent-rix.com, and I will share the link with you on the description and on the screen that you're looking at, and you should be able to go onto their website and get your fragrances for a whopping 30% off, right? And do let me know what are the ones that you have already, and if you would want to try something else, do let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to do another video. Overall, I feel a very good value for money kind of a house, especially their evening wear. Woody fragrances, oud fragrances are fantastic. So for me, the fresh fragrances last about average, but they, it depends on skin and humid conditions as well. So, but if you are looking for very good classy fragrances, then yes, that's definitely a house to try, because their bottles look good, good artwork, juice is good, and of course you get a pressurized sprayer as well, or with most fragrance, with all the bottles. So that is something that they've done as well. So definitely get in touch with Shantanu Gupta and or Dikshit Vora, and you can get your orders from them, or check out their website called scent-rix.com. And I'll see you on another video. Until another time, take care. Bye bye.